there you go. Unexpected, victorious Tornado Energy.
2016 Wargaming Continental League World Champions.
And welcome back to the WGL APAC Season 2 day number 2 of Week 4. My name is Max Roki for Fogalier. Joining me again is Alex Go Gadget Blakey.
So.
And, we've had a bit of a false start here tonight. Coalition Zoo have unfortunately forfeited our first night of the match due to being unable to field a full roster.
Oh, it happens sometimes, and look, all we can say is that we hope TCZ is back in action tomorrow. I was actually looking forward to seeing them play today, particularly because they've been, having a bit of a upwards sort of revival a little bit. TCZ, and they have been looking strong this season
as well. So I wanted to see if they could carry that momentum
Exactly.
on from yesterday, but unfortunately, questions will go unanswered.
Yes, exactly. But we will be answering some questions on today's stream, no doubt. Of course, we have got some top-tier matches for everyone in store. No doubt. Let's take a look at those ones.
First game of the night will be Team Efficiency taking on Horsemen. And if you missed out on yesterday's games, that's unfortunate, mate, because Team Efficiency did an absolute upset over EL Gaming, taking out the undefeated champions themselves. So coming into a game against Horsemen, who, unfortunately, Horsemen, they've been looking on the downward spiral a little bit. This is going to be a great game for them to either revitalize themselves or just fall further down. B Gaming taking on EL for our second game of the night, and Karen Tiger versus Dark Wolves to close us out.
Yep, there we go. So, look, Team Efficiency and Horsemen, I think it's actually a great match to start us up because, I mean, Team Efficiency, they are now undefeated in Season 2.
They're the team to beat.
They are the team to beat. I'm not, it almost feels like I'm saying that in a fantasy world, but no, they are. And, like, Horsemen, they challenged EL last week. They took EL Gaming to a 4-5. So, if we're just comparing those two matches, both of these teams against EL Gaming, then this match should be an absolute blinder, I think. So we are, I reckon, going to be seeing some top-tier tanking, Max.
Look, and I really hope so, because top-tier tanking is the farthest thing from what Horsemen have been delivering in their past 2 games. After that unfortunate loss to EL Gaming, they've gone down 5-1 to Karen Tiger, 5-1 to Meltdown. So this is a chance for themselves to kind of get back up on that pedestal. Don't let the horse buck you off one too many times. Get back on that horse and ride. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, hopefully they come back after that Meltdown game. That was disappointing.
It was.
To say the least, but they've still got it. Maybe that was just an off game. Maybe Meltdown countered them. I'm not too sure what happened there, but look, they've got to focus on this current game. Obviously, Team Efficiency are a very different opponent to Meltdown, different play styles, different tanks, different players, all of that fun stuff. So I think we're starting off on a bit of an even playing field here, Max.
No, I think you're right. And both these teams do have the potential to upset EL Gaming. We've seen it out of both of them. The first 2 to ever come that close in Season 2 especially. So not only are these guys vying for second spot, they want to cement themselves in there, but they can also have the opportunity to go for third spot now. Now that's been proven that EL aren't untouchable, that Team Efficiency have made the gods bleed. First sight is it's well and truly a possessable thing.
Yes, absolutely. But, I mean, let's have a little bit of a look at our predictions for this match, because we have all actually predicted some interesting results, fairly similar. I'm going to be going with 5-3. I think that the guys on Team Efficiency will be able to take them down. So I'm staying with the boys, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to a tiebreaker. What about you?
Yeah, I've gone with the 5-4 over to Efficiency. Efficiency definitely on that upward swing at the moment. They've just been looking better and better week to week, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. So I really don't think that there's a team out there that can stop them if they keep playing the level of tanks we've seen from them in recent times. We're a Horseman on the other side. This was back. We made this before. We got to see Horsemen play yesterday, so I would think it could go to a tiebreaker if Horsemen play their normal style of game. But if they keep up this kind of just really weak, flaccid Horsemen, then I don't see this going any better than a 5-2. But I predicted a 5-4 for team efficiency.
Predicting a 5-4, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, it will be Jordan going with me and locking in the 5-3, and I think that's a smart move, Jordan. So I think, yeah, after my epic prediction yesterday...
He's learned from his mistakes. He's not betting against the Blakey.
No, exactly. But look, overall, it should be a close game. We have sort of seen some roster changes within the team efficiency line, or not really roster changes, but sort of player swaps is a better way to say it. So let's take a look at the team efficiency line while we've got that happening, and we can see that Bolognese, he's one of the subs for team efficiency, but he's been playing for them. They've been swapping him into a few games, and he's actually been like almost carrying in some of those matches.
He really has.
Yesterday against CL.
I want to know if Bolognese is back playing for us tonight, because yesterday's performance was immaculate. He topped the damage dealt, he topped the average damage per match. He did pretty much everything they needed to take out EL Gaming, and that's asking a heck of a lot out of an individual. So coming into this series against Horsemen, I want to see them back with Bolognese. I want to see them playing that same style that we saw yesterday that really gave them the edge in their game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, team efficiency here. We've also got to look out for JT, because he did fall off the perch a little bit towards EL Gaming. But normally, he is their top damage dealer. And of course, on the other side, Horsemen have a few big damage dealers in their mix as well. Of course, one of the highest average damage dealt, or highest average damage dealing players is Archon, currently sitting 7th in this season of damage dealt. So definitely have to look out for Mr. Archon there. OBOV, he's been playing okay. Yeah. Sphinx had a little bit of an off one yesterday.
He really wasn't feeling it. Wasn't feeling, chucking himself in the T57 heavy, just not really giving himself a chance to excel, it felt like.
Yeah, look, I certainly hope that we won't be seeing any T57 heavies out of the Horsemen this time. Even if they land up on Ghost Town, then I really don't want to see them.
Now
but who knows?
Maybe they're sitting on a 50-50 defense and attack rate at the moment, so not the best, but not the worst. Kind of smack bang in the middle. So Horsemen rounding us out in that regard. Be interesting to see if they can mix things up here tonight, because I really feel like if team efficiency play as well as they did yesterday, Horsemen are going to have to pull out a miracle.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's take a look at our head-to-head even matchup for today. Moore taking on Sphinx. And, well, we've seen some massive plays from Moore yesterday. His favourite tank is the Batchat, but of course he does play the FV4005. I think he's probably the best FV4005 player in the league.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's like his honorary favourite tank there. And average damage dealt, both obviously very, very high. And you can see that they do like playing those lightly armoured tanks, because they don't often block damage with their armour there. We can see both only on 132 and 263 average damage blocked.
Yeah, so Sphinx has the leg up in most regards against Moore here. So you can definitely see that EL experience shining through.
Yeah.
Challenge is definitely going to be on team efficiencies, individual players to stand up to the Horsemen. It's just that Horsemen teamwork that we saw them do so well against EL that just has been faltering for the last 2 games. So maybe a bigger blow than we recently anticipated has been dealt to their confidence.
Maybe. I'm not too sure how much that'll affect them, but let's take a look at our maps for today. We have got Mines and Muravanka there, actually vetoed out first by Team Efficiency and Horsemen respectively. They don't really like Mines, so I think that's a good move. Steps and Himmelsdorf, the first couple of picks by TE and Horsemen. We've seen TE on Steps. They know how to play a good Steps map.
Yeah.
Himmelsdorf there for the Horsemen. Again, it's a map that all teams in APAC know how to play, so it's nothing too crazy to see that. Cliff actually vetoed out there by the Horsemen. I think that's a fantastic move, because TE, they do feel really good on Cliff this season. They know how to play that hill. Prokhorov could take it out. Norkin or their Ghost Town picked by the Horsemen. If they play it like they did yesterday, then I don't think team efficiency will be worried.
Yeah, I don't know. Horsemen's Ghost Town, it's a bit of hit and miss at the moment. We saw it do wonders for them, then we've seen it kind of being a bane for them. But to give you guys a rundown of the maps one more time, we've got Steps coming up first, Himmelsdorf for the second, Ghost Town for the third, Ruinberg, and a tiebreaker being Ghost Town again. So, Horsemen, we like their chances on Ghost Town, and if they go all the way, they have that advantage playing for them on the tiebreaker maps. Just whether or not they can get us that far, because recent games, they've been looking shaky.
Yeah, Absolutely. So, and look, if we end up on the tiebreaker, then I've got to probably give this one over to Team Efficiency if it does go that far. But I mean, Horsemen, if we see them on Ruinberg, then potentially some good strats there if they get that far. It's hard to say. I think early on though will be the struggle. I wouldn't be surprised to see Team Efficiency go 2-0 in some of these maps like Prokhorovka, like Steps. I think we saw potentially, or Himmelsdorf rather. So
I know Horsemen on Steps last night just didn't look convincing. They had so many advantages against Meltdown and just completely got rushed out in the second half. So I don't know. Coming into Steps, I think Horsemen may have a rough time getting through the Team Efficiency that we saw last night, because they played out of their minds. And of course, going to be jumping into Steps very shortly here. Going to be seeing what tanks either teams go for. Do you think we'll see that 6-bat lineup from the Horsemen again, or is that one they're putting a pin in it for now?
I certainly hope not. Look, Horsemen do like to play very aggressive on Steps. They do like to get that mobility in, but I think the 6-bat that we saw last night,
too much.
Just a little bit too much. And look, Team Efficiency on Steps, they do like to play the railway quite a bit, so expect maybe a Kranwagen or two. Instead, we're actually not going to have a Kranwagen. I'm going to be having one of the Swedish tanks, so the UDES 03. Team Efficiency on the attack, actually, which is interesting. We've got Object 140 and an IS-7 for TE, so bit of an interesting lineup there on the attack. We don't always see the IS-7.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the Horsemen are going to be going with that Artie, the M40, M43. Again, we've seen very mixed success. I think more sort of unsuccessful plays than successful plays so far with that one. But, if it hits its shots, it can definitely inflict some pain onto those Batchats and even the UDES.
Just whether or not they can set up in time and hold a defense as we're jumping in to the game. Horsemen taking on Team Efficiency, but unfortunately, it's a hot day in Australia, and things never go well on a hot day. We will be having a small disconnect. One of the players not connecting, and we'll aim to get you guys back in the action as soon as possible.
Yep, that's right. Quick little reset there, but does give us a little bit more time to have a think about what Horsemen are going to be doing with their lineup there. Obviously, we had a couple of 113s. We had the Artie piece in there, the M40, which is currently sitting on about a 57% win rate this season.
Pretty good.
Look, it does work, the artillery piece, when you've got a good artillery player in it. And I think we only really see the M40, M43 when these teams actually have dedicated artillery players in it. I think some of the teams that you'd never expect to pick it, maybe the Dark Wolves potentially. I think on the Dark Wolves side, they've got Gomley, who has actually never played a single game in an artillery piece. Not just this season, not just in WGL, but he has never actually played a Battle of World of Tanks in an artillery piece. That's how much he doesn't like them. So, someone like that, obviously you can't put in an artillery piece, even if they're... So,
we saw Horsemen try it out yesterday against Meltdown, and it didn't work out for them. But it's good to see they're not just abandoning the strategy. They obviously have tried it in scrims. They've obviously tried it on ladder, wherever else they can play, and it's worked for them, or else they wouldn't be committing to it. It got pretty dismantled by Meltdown. So if Team Efficiency were watching the games last night, and I'd be surprised if they weren't out partying after that EL win. So if they watched the games last night, they saw how Horsemen set up with that Artie and how Meltdown just dismantled it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the Artie, I think last time in Horsemen's defensive Steps lineup, it just ended up getting rushed. It was as simple as that. So really, if Horsemen want to sacrifice the Artie, then, I mean, they don't, but they've got to get a bit more of an effective trade than just letting an artillery piece go down. So lots of things to think about here for the Horsemen. The artillery piece, I do like it against the IS-7 and the UDES particularly, because the IS-7 obviously a much slower tank, much easier for the artillery piece to hit. You can just kind of slowly get shell after shell after shell, whittle down that strong armor of the IS-7. And because the IS-7 doesn't actually have a very high HP pool, that means that you can think about it like the artillery shells will be doing more sort of more of the percentage health of that IS-7. So that could definitely be a thing. Otherwise, you can go for the big shots on the UDES or the Batchats, but I prefer the stable, kind of high percentage.
A little bit of glory never hurt anyone, as we're finally jumping into the first game. Horsemen taking on Team Efficiency. It's kind of a reverse tale here. We have Team Efficiency on the come up, and Horsemen, they're slowing down. They're finding themselves in a very big rut right now, and they're going to have to work hard to get out of it because Team Efficiency are looking untouchable, Alex.
Yes, very much so. So right now, Horsemen going to be heading out to around that, around the rail track one flag area, but a couple of them have been spotted there, and haven't actually spotted out any of the Team Efficiency guys. I'm not too sure whether that was Skell that spotted them, or maybe one of the bat chats across near that F2, E2 area.
The Team Efficiency rolling with the same lineup that they did that beat EL Gaming, so good signs here. Bolognese back in the roster tonight. Horsemen. Yep. We saw a pretty poor performance out of Gorilla yesterday, so he's got to step up his game if they want to take out the now undefeated Team Efficiency. They've got to make sure that all their players are playing great well the tanks, because I'm not convinced. I feel like Horsemen, they have so much more to offer us. They just got to refine that potential in themselves.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Team Efficiency, they are going to be heading back towards their spawn a little bit. I think they're just feeling out the map right now. They're just looking for some spots on the Horsemen, trying to figure out where the kind of bulk of the Horsemen force is, and then they can decide what to do once they've got that information. Because Bolognese, again, fairly aggressively up here in the center of the map. It's not a position that we often see bat chats on the attacking side take, but look, if he gets a little spot out potentially, then could help them.
Yeah, night and day differences from the last time we saw Horsemen playing on Steps yesterday. Both those games felt like they were over within the first 2 minutes, but as 2 minutes has passed us here, neither team gone for really much of a play. We can see Spencer just looking around the map with the Artie here. Not going to find any spots at the moment. Only player being spotted out is More now. Bohan does as well. Making sure that he can get re-camouflaged here. Last thing he wants is a cop and Artie shot.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be ideal for Mr. Bohan, but Archon as well in the bat chat, not wanting to lose his shells just yet.
Huge hit.
Ooh.
Wait, was it?
A little hit onto Bowl, maybe?
On the other one, it looked like there was a big hit.
Maybe. Oh, no, it was. Yeah, there we go.
Must have been just a spectator bug, but a huge hit onto Bohan. Thought so.
There you go.
Call me crazy, but I saw something, Alex.
Yeah. You got a better eye than me, Max. And, well, that was a big shot indeed on towards Mr. Bohan. Dropped down to 852 HP. And, yeah, that's why I do like the artillery pacer up against the IS-7. Yeah. It's just so easy to hit. It can still deal, really big damage if you get a good shot like that. And just like that.
And look at Bohan. He's on his last legs right now without even seeing a member of the Horsemen. That's just relaying that information to the correct members here. Archon now is going to cop a little bit of flack from Safi, but not too much. He's just got to back off here. And now Team Efficiency. Bohan, very, very low HP at the moment. Just going to have to wait and see what happens next, because Horsemen, they're on the defense. They don't have to make any aggressive moves. The onus is and falls onto Team Efficiency.
Yeah, that's right. And again, another Artie shot, 13 HP. Honestly, Bohan, look at his tank. His engine, he's just repaired it, but his tank is like a walking rust
Everything
bucket.
in the kitchen sink was damaged in that one.
Yeah. And he's still got, I think, might be his gunner dead as well. And a dead gunner on an IS-7 means that IS-7 is not going to be hitting much at all from this range. Already got a fairly low accuracy for a tier 10 gun. A big Russian cannon. And that is not going to help. So, Horsemen very much in the driver's seat here on the defensive steps. And I'm really yet to see the Oods from Skell do too much.
No, I don't know how Team Efficiency plan on winning this game right now, because it seems they're just hanging back. Good trade onto Gorilla here. He's been caught out. Moore can't hit the third shot, but gets 2 good shells in. Has to go on the reload, and Gorilla kind of wondering, where did that barrage come from?
Yeah, Gorilla there. A little bit perplexed. So that was a great little bit of play there for Moore, trying to even up the score a little bit. Got 2 shots in towards Mr. Gorilla. So that will help Team Efficiency out a little bit, but the 5-minute mark has just ticked by. So
here comes the rotation.
Yeah, Team Efficiency, they do need to rotate. They do need to make something happen here. This time is ticking.
Yeah, Horsemen. They've just got to keep a nice wide spread, and look at this. They've predicted it. They know that Gorilla was the focus point here, so they're going to make sure the remainder of Horsemen can bolster their defenses. Hawk and OBOV will be rotating over to ensure that Gorilla doesn't go down without a fight. Now, just got to wait for the go mark out of efficiency.
Yeah, team efficiency right here. Still just biding their time. Not going to be seeing any go mark just yet, but Hawk's doing a little bit of a skid around the place. Spencer is zeroed in on towards that rail track, which might be dangerous for any of those bat chats of team efficiency side that want to push up there. But I'm still confused because we've got Bohan and Safi down there near the 2 flag. Are they going to push up maybe when...
Two-pronged attack?
Yeah, two-pronged attack.
Try to draw the main forces in, get a quick kill on the Artie, then reinforce the main. Knows. Doesn't look like team efficiency though, because they're kind of scattering right now and just driving around the bottom half of the map, not really sure where they want to make the attack, because it's one of those situations where they kind of have all the information they need. That's the problem. They know that they don't really have a chance of getting in here without doing something stupid.
Yeah.
There's no wise play to be made here, it seems.
Seems like it. But look, they need to do something. Otherwise, they're just going to gift this win over towards the Horsemen. By the 3-minute mark, they have to be starting to go in, I would feel, because the Horsemen, look, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bat chats, 2 113s, a lot of fast tanks on their lineup that are going to be very hard to catch. So, team efficiency, looks like they've decided to do something, but their whole force isn't there. Skell's not there. Oh, this is just looking a little bit shaky from them.
Yeah. As we can see, they're making the move up. JT in the Object 140, Safi and his bat shout. They want to try and catch out one member of Horsemen. If they can make a pick, maybe they can get themselves back in the game. Trying to get we're trading with someone over here. We can see JT very narrowly moving on up. Hasn't seen spotted just yet. Looking for a shot onto Archon. Finds it. Can they find anything more? He's very, very low. A lot of shells coming in, but none connecting. They're going to find some damage onto Nondasus. They found Spencer down to 41 HP. That's the Artie nearly out of the fight. Can he get one more shot off before he goes down? You can see Horsemen, they're rallying to the rest of their members. They're moving up. That's going to be Kills Trader. Granoski and Archon go down to their respective members here. Nondasu in a 2 versus 1 Bolognese, just blocking off the shots onto more. Nondasu is in a very bad spot. Can JT get the finishing blow? He does. Team efficiency, they're firing back and they're firing strong.
Yeah, great little fight there from team efficiency. JT's been doing work here, just poking over the ridge in that Object 140. Skell, in the meantime, hasn't actually done anything, and Bohan's going to go down there, so team efficiency dropped down to 5 remaining players, but...
Horsemen
only with 3 tier 10s left.
They had such a great advantage. They got Bohan super low, then they just rested on their laurels. They wait for team efficiency to make the play. They wait for team efficiency to find the pick, and they are potentially going to lose out this round here, as all efficiency need to do is pick off the last remaining member. Sphinx, he's 1 shell away from going down, but there's the reload coming through, so unless Skell can find it, as he does, he goes down now. Gorilla, last viable member left alive, as JT playing well. This is a JT that we wanted to see yesterday, and this is the JT we're seeing today. Much better performance. Last player left alive will be Spencer in the Artie, and don't think the members of Team Efficiency are afraid of anything right now.
Yeah, there we go. So just like that, Team Efficiency, I was starting to get really worried for them, but props to them. They one of the few teams that's played it that slowly on steps and actually managed to take out the win after such an early disadvantage with that IS-7. So, look, well played to Team Efficiency, and Horsemen, they're going to be shaking their heads thinking, what happened there? Because they were in the driver's seat.
I think it's the exact same thing that happened to them last time they played steps. They get an advantage, and then they don't know where to go next. They just kind of find themselves in this standoff where they're waiting for the other opponent to make the move, and they're not in the correct position to answer. You saw they thought the push coming was at the 1 flag. They rotate a few of their members over there. Then all of a sudden, JT, he gets the pick. They go in. They use their numbers advantage. Bohan, he's 1 shot, but he's not in the fight. It doesn't matter. Someone's focusing their attention on him. They get Bohan in the end. But what have they lost in the meantime? They lost 3 tanks.
Yeah. Well, who knows? But anyways, that was very rough indeed for the Horsemen. And I think that on the next half of steps here, it's going to be even maybe trickier for them, because team efficiency on the defensive steps, we know statistically that they're actually kind of pretty good on it. 75% win rate on the Steps defense side. So this is going to be even harder for Horsemen now that we're swapping around. But look, if they can keep that arty play up, that was like a little beacon of hope there for the Horsemen that did really well, obviously. I just think they didn't guard for the push, right? Maybe they didn't think team efficiency would be pushing from all of those different angles. It's hard to say, but
I just feel like they knew their advantage that they had. They understood how far ahead they were, and they just didn't think that team efficiency would make such a brazen push. Yeah. And they got caught off guard. They didn't respect it, and unfortunately they copped the L because of it. So let's jump into the post-game statistics and have a look at some of the big numbers that were pumped out that game.
There we go,
JT.
Mr. Safi there with 3.3k. JT, not too bad with 2.8k damage, but look at that. Spencer is going to be so disappointed that he couldn't pull off the win there, because in a tier 8 artillery piece, the M40 dealing almost 3,000 damage. That is when an artillery works.
Unfortunately, just still wasn't enough for Horsemen to get over the finish line. They started off very, very strong. Got some great arty shots, as we can see, but the rest of their tank is just really slipping here. Even Sphinx, he was playing on form. It looked good. Gorilla as well, the players we mentioned that were slipping yesterday for Horsemen, pulling their weight this time around, but it's just the rest of the team. Hawks and Archon having a rough game, especially when we mentioned Archon, 7th highest damage dealer in the league so far. To have a bad game, that's it's so detrimental to Horsemen's playstyle.
Yeah. Absolutely, and well, Hawks there in the bat chat down the bottom, 477 damage, only got one shot off, which is quite disappointing. And I actually personally think that Skell could have done a little bit more in that one as well, because he was playing very, very defensively at the end. But not to worry, team efficiency did come out with the fairly convincing win there, so you can't really fault them for that. Yep. But that's a win for the Udes.
Just getting a word in that Bohan is actually being subbed out for Party, coming up into the next game. So Bohan, maybe a little bit of network issues here, copying that arty shot. Maybe his team are not convinced that they want him on that defense side. Or?
That's interesting that they're swapping out Bohan for Party there. I wonder how much of an impact that's going to have, because we know that Bohan such a strong heavy tank player.
He really is. He really
you put him in a heavy tank, and unless he gets artied like that, which might have been, partially because of some network connection or whatever issues he was having there that has been forced to sub out for. Like he's a super strong heavy tank player, and even though Party is part of Team Efficiency's core lineup, technically he's not a sub. Having him come in here, I don't know. I personally prefer Bohan, but I guess we'll see how it plays out.
You got to remember, this is a lineup that beat EL, so it's really hard to kind of pick and choose
to
player right now. They all pulled their weight in their own way, and like you mentioned, Bohan, one of the best heavy tankers in the league, being able to just do so much work when it's necessary to kind of sub him out to whatever unfortunate circumstance it is. Party coming in here, not a bad tanker by his own right, but you got to remember, the reason we're giving this squad so much praise is the massive feat of brilliance they pulled off yesterday, taking out EL.
That's it. And I mean, look, maybe I think Bohan's having a little technical difficulty, we've been told. So my guess is his computer's melted.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I really wouldn't. We got these lights on us in a nice aircon room. And what temperature is it, Alex?
Oh, I'm not even sure if I should say it's too high. It's too high. But look, so... yeah, we are in the middle of a heat wave, for those of you that don't know, in Sydney. It's something like 41, 42 today. It's crazy. And yeah, that I wouldn't be surprised if Bohan's problem there, his PC was heat related.
I wouldn't be surprised if he melted himself. But look, something that can't melt are the tanks, as we're jumping in to the tank selection here. It's going to be team efficiency on the defense this time around. And pretty similar stuff what we saw at a Horseman last night, Alex.
Yeah, look, team efficiency there with a Kranwagen. I like that on the defense. They have used it pretty well. They put it up near the railway and just used its super strong turret to be able to poke down the railway. 113 there, that Chinese tier 10 heavy tank that plays a lot like a fast medium. Pretty good as well. And the Horsemen there, well, they've got 6 bat chats and an AMX 1390. So they're using the bat chat lineup. I'm not convinced, but look, it has a potential. I just think it needs the right execution.
And look, here's going to be the test of did Team Efficiency watch the games last night, because it's the exact same strategy that Horsemen failed to execute against Meltdown, despite having a massive 2-tank advantage off the initial. So you You can see Skell, he's already playing quite far up. I feel like with this type of confidence, he knows what's coming, and he just wants to check. You can see, look at the defensive line that Team Efficiency have set up around the tracks. They're expecting this Batshat push to come in, and Horseman, Spencer, he's already taken a big shot to the side. Can he get in just in time? Safi goes round. Nundasu getting taken lower and lower. You can tell that Team Efficiency have done their homework. They predicted this push straight off the cuff. Horseman, they're finding the trouble straight away. Nundasu goes down. Sphinx, maybe the next tank to fall. Team Efficiency, they're looking great already, but Safi gets returned on the side of Efficiency. Can Horsemen make the play happen before they run out of bullets here? You can see Party on the reload as well.
Party on the reload, 1 second left. And they're getting some good damage in towards the Horseman. Team Efficiency already with about a 3.3 thousand hit point advantage here against HM. Oh, look at Skell. He's in a beautiful position.
Look, he's just going to be a little mosquito right now, doing little bits of damage here and there, but being a nuisance, forcing Hawks to turn his attention off the main fight. But he's got backup. It's Granovsky coming in well and true. Hawks, he's going to go down any second now. And Horsemen, they tried this play. It didn't work against Meltdown last night. They tried again against Efficiency, but hey, when your games are broadcast to the world and you try to pull off a cheesy push that was red straight off the bat, I don't know.
Yeah, look, that was great play by Team Efficiency in reacting to that push there. They should be able to clean up Archon here with no worries whatsoever. Archon doesn't even have a clip, and he's up against 3 tier 10s. There's no way that he's going to be able to take out those three. Bolognese gets the kill instead and makes it a 2-0 for Team Efficiency.
Not even going to matter that Bohan's not playing in a round like that. The 6 Batshat push, they tried it last night against Meltdown. They tried it again against Team Efficiency. Failed abysmally both times. Maybe it's time to hang up that strategy, Horseman, because it's not working.
Yes, look, that was well read by Team Efficiency, because as soon as, I think it was, well, one of the Team Efficiency Batchats, as soon as he got spotted, the one furthest out.
I think it was Safi.
Yeah, Safi, I think it was, exactly. And he recognised he got spotted. He recognised that the Horsemen were all rushing into him, and he said, okay, I need to get into a better position than this open side of the rail tracks. He popped over the rail tracks. He hid behind the little house there, which isn't destructible. Perfect, and he was safe effectively. It just meant that Horseman wasted a few shots into him that could have gone onto a different primary target instead.
And you saw the Skell's aggression with the IU-251. His scout, he knew it was coming. You saw how far up he was on the opposite side of the map. If Horseman had decided to mix things up and do that push elsewhere, he would have just been dead off the initial. Only a few shells wasted on the side of Horseman, but they went for the exact same push they did last night. And read like a book. Efficiency, they knew it was coming. They had the perfect setup. They had the firing lines down pat. Safi and Skell both playing their parts perfectly here. So time's running out for Horsemen. The light's getting dimmer as we get further into this series.
Yeah, it's not ideal there for the Horsemen, but, I mean, look, maybe they can come back in our next map here. Team Efficiency looking super, super strong though, and I feel as though JT probably, he racked up a few little shots in that one as well. The Kranwagen worked, obviously. It wasn't primaried, but, you know, can still put out a lot of damage. Let's take a look at the post-game stats to see who put out the most damage though, and it was actually the Kranwagen. Yep, there we go. We
mentioned last night it was JT's slump, and they still were able to take out EL. So if JT's playing up to his standard, then Horsemen don't stand a chance in hell right now. Party, they sub him in for Bohan. Does amazing damage straight off in the 113. Moore and Bolognese both pulling their weight. It's looking bad. It's looking bad for Horsemen, Alex.
It is looking quite bad for the Horsemen right there. Sphinx, at least, he had a decent game there in that batch at 2,000 damage. Archon with 2k. But, well, Team Efficiency, looks like they have not dropped too much from last night. They haven't partied too hard, if you will. And it is good to see Party coming into the roster and dealing a solid 2k damage. Unfortunately for Mr. Safi there, he did still go down fairly early on, only 111 damage, but, you know, that's what happens sometimes.
Damaging 3 of the Batshots there in the RU-251. He was just such a pest in the backline, really causing a nuisance. He was.
Absolutely, and look, it's times like that when the RU-251, it really comes up trumps for that one. And there we go, 2-0 to the Horsemen. I think that they just have to put it behind them there. they're not great on steps. I don't know why they let that through the vetoes. I would much rather have seen them play, honestly, Muro if that wasn't banned, or anything, really, anything. After that match, I mean, looking at their steps, win rate, it's going very much downhill.
No, exactly.
So, yeah, a little bit of a shame. But anyways, maybe something for the Horsemen's next game that they take to on steps, but we've got to focus a little bit on what our next game is, Max.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. We've got Himmelsdorf coming up, and this was the map that they Team Efficiency took out EL Gaming on. This was their reward map for themselves. They chose to go defense against EL, which eventually led them to victory. So coming in here, it's going to be a hard-fought battle for Horsemen indeed, because EL looked very strong on Himmelsdorf last night.
Yes, absolutely. Team Efficiency on Himmelsdorf, they, in the first kind of 1-1 with EL Gaming, they won one half, they lost the defensive half, and then, of course, picked the defensive half, which they'd lost.
Bold strategy.
Exactly, on their tiebreaker match. So, and proved that they can win defense as well against EL Gaming. So this is going to be hard, but we can expect, I would really love to see some more FE4005 play from Team Efficiency. That worked out brilliantly well last night, and if you can get that into those nice kind of long firing lines on the B line on the defensive side, or maybe pushing up the banana when on the attack, then that can work. And yep, there we go.
Your wish has been answered, Alex. I'm sure that's going to be jumping into the hands of more. They got themselves a few AMX 50Bs, 3 of them on the side of Horsemen this time around. So Horsemen backs up against the wall already, down 0-2 to Team Efficiency, the new kings of the castle at the moment. Horsemen, they're trying their best to dethrone them, but it's not looking too crash hot.
It's not looking great for ye old Horsemen, is it? But,
no.
Well, they've got a pretty stock standard lineup, I want to say here. They've got that IS-7, the 113, some AMX 50Bs, nothing too crazy. I mean, it's pretty cookie cutter Himmelsdorf. You know, you've got lots of damage, you've got a little bit of armor, lots of alpha. But Team Efficiencies, I think that's, I'm favouring that lineup even more. And I like how they go with Skill. I like how they go with the RU251 as a scout. I think that's a good move.
You can see Horsemen going for a push up through the K line here. Something we see EL Gaming do quite a lot, but Safi's going to spot them out immediately when they come around this corner. It's going to be a spot for spot here. Archon and Co has been spotted out. Are they able to get the quick kill onto Safi before he can retreat? There's a lot of damage coming down. He's very, very low. Can he get out alive? He's getting behind the building just in time. A lot of damage coming into OBOV, so this is a bad push from Horsemen off the bat. They weren't able to get the kill onto Safi. He still has 4 shots left in the chamber. Tries to go for a peek. Sphinx makes him pay.
Yeah, there we go. Sphinx with a good little shot there onto Safi. And, well, Safi's gone down without dealing too much damage at all. Only fired 1 shell from his clip. Party's on fire, though, in the AMX 50B. That's not great. And it's looking like Team Efficiency, they need to take 1 gun off the board here. More there in his FE4005. He's so close to dropping. Oh, no, that's massive for the Horsemen.
No, bad stuff coming out of Team Efficiency at the moment. They finally do take out OBOV, but he was a very low AMX 50B, and I felt like his damage was already dealt when they took out Safi, but they're getting the damage back onto Archon. He's 1 shot away from going down, but Sphinx going to be frontlining straight into Granovsky. 7 seconds left on the reload. Shot in the back, not going to matter. He should have enough damage when he goes around this corner to finish him off, should he hit a good one. Going to find it. Granovsky, though, doesn't have the backer from JT just yet. We can see Nondesu going to be going for the flank on the remainder. Gorilla is the one to finish him off, and a great shot from Sphinx into JT. JT in a very bad spot right now. Here comes Nondesu. Shouldn't have too much trouble cleaning him up.
Yeah. There we go, JT there, and he's trying his best to angle that armor of the IS-4, but Nondesu should be able to get through that fairly easily. And at this point in time, Team Efficiency, they've only got 3 tier 10s left. Make that 2 as Party goes down. There's no real way they can come back into this battle. So should be a pretty simple cleanup here for the Horsemen, and a very, very smart, neat little push on towards the 1 line that ended up, well, working out very well for them.
Great stuff coming out of Horsemen. This is what we wanted to see, them playing their style of tanks, not trying to throw any cheese around, running 6 bat shots on steps. This was calculated, meta, strong, cookie cutter Himmelsdorf, and I'm glad to see it working out for the Horsemen tonight.
Absolutely, and JT there in the IS-4. the last one to go down. And I think at the end of the day, team efficiency there, they didn't expect the one flag push. They weren't. Yeah, Safi got caught out. They weren't ready for it.
Well, got caught out last time on steps, and he was able to survive. So he tried his luck again, went for the poke, but Sphinx, he was there to clean up the kill. So unfortunate stuff for team efficiency. They are going to drop the first round Oz Himmels, but that's showing that Horsemen, they still have the potential to come back in this series. They're not done and dusted yet. They're not giving up without a fight, and it's about damn time too, because the last few games, Horsemen, they've just been looking very shaky.
Very shaky. Very, very, very shaky, I guess. And, well, good to see them come back in towards it. I think team efficiency there, like, there's not really they can take out of that match. I think they just did not have a good setup for what happened just there. The spotting that I think Skell did in the RU251 maybe didn't help them at all. But let's take a look at the replays to see exactly how it went wrong there for team efficiency.
And you can see it's Safi getting caught out here initially. So much damage being dealt, and they returned it onto OBOV. But positional advantage went to Horsemen. They were able to peek up in time, get the kills down where it mattered, and just punish the poor setup coming out of efficiency.
Yeah, exactly. And that spot that team efficiency got early on towards, I think it was the tier 8 tank of Horsemen that was crossing the banana there. Like, team efficiency might have seen that and might have thought, oh, you know, that's just their scout coming up the banana first. They're all going to be following. You know, they're all going to be coming out the banana. But that wasn't the case, and perhaps spotting out that scout maybe, you know, threw a bit of a spanner in team efficiency's mind, so to speak, the collective mind of the team, thinking that maybe Horsemen were going up there when in fact they were just about to push out on towards the one flag.
We've been seeing so many cerebral plays coming out of teams in Season 2. It feels like it's a lot more mind games, a lot more oh, let's just chuck a tank in here. They'll think this is a push going through, then we do this. We saw it with the CDC on Ruinberg. We've seen it time and time again with like faking plays. We've seen EL go for couple pronged attacks here, and now Horsemen trying something new as well. So Granovsky doing great work on that AMX-50B. Bolognese as well putting up the damage, but the real star players here, Nundesu and Hawks for the Horsemen.
Yes, Nundesu doing work there in that bat chat. Bolognese, though, you've got to give him credit. 2,700 damage in the 113, and Gorilla in the IS-7 did a little bit of work this time as well. Look, overall, some pretty solid damage numbers, and unfortunately, more down the bottom there. Zero damage dealt. Yeah, it can happen sometime with the FV4005. In fact, just before this cast, I may have had a little round in the 183. And
we were just having a chat about tanks, and then you're like, Rogi, come watch this. It's just like a FV4005, but and then you just got one shot Bernardi.
Yeah, that was not ideal. After I accidentally shot my teammate and dealt 1,100 damage as well.
Well, there's the damage that you wanted to show. You wanted to showcase those big bursts. Unfortunately, just wasn't on the right target here. But enough about Alex's abysmal tanking and more about Horsemen back on the come up here. Great to see them take out a very convincing round here. Not a scrappy one. They stuck to their guns. They didn't go in for a greedy push then wait. They kept up the aggression, and they made sure that efficiency couldn't answer back.
That's right. So on the next half here, I think team efficiency, look, they can come in towards the attack here with a few different strategies. Horsemen, I'm trying to think of what we typically see them do. They don't often do many aggressive pushes on the attack. From memory, I'm more of a defensive team. Sorry, pushes on the defense. But let's take a look at what they've picked so we can have a bit more of an insight into what their strategy may be. Auto loader galore.
Yeah. Coming out of the Horsemen.
Horsemen going absolutely crazy with the auto loaders. They've got 4 AMX-50Bs, 2 Batchats, one of those Batchats being a Batchat AP, the Tier 9 variant, and the T10, a Tier 9 Soviet heavy tank with a pretty nice gun. Good penetration on that one, but team efficiency, they're going with the kind of team efficiency special there.
Yeah, not giving up on it just yet.
No, it's still a solid lineup. The 4005, you know, the AMX-50Bs, 113s for damage, AMX-1390 for the cap pressure, and of course, you've got the Batchat thrown in there for the team efficiency, extra little bit of mobility. You know, you can rotate around. It's be a bit of a thorn in Horseman's side.
Safi going up the banana very, very early. Might be able to catch Spencer here if he tries to get into that little nook and cranny on the F7 quadrant. Oh, he's going to find the bat shot if he comes around, but the reload not there in time. Oh, there it is. Can he get a few good shots in? Hits about a 300 and change. Not too much more, just spotting each other out.
Nope.
But look, as we're jumping into efficiency, they're on the back foot of this Himmelsdorf. Let's jump into a listen-in with Team Efficiency to see how the communications are going.
Guys.
No, better.
Okay, well, what the fuck do we do? No one's talking.
Yeah.
Come down. You guys gotta, they isolated and killed us. Behind, Botek, behind.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone should come into here right now because we're about to get fucked on.
You guys need to come here.
No,
Yes.
the FTB need to drop down now.
Going.
I'll passive
They
through
just
the
won't
wall.
run away.
No. I need some watch up here.
I'm
We don't need
watching.
everyone
I'm watching
here.
in here.
No, we need more than that.
They are both -2 at least. 1 -3.
And there's a batch at T10 covering as well.
Yeah.
You should not go.
Already lost.
I don't need everyone here.
Yeah.
I already said we don't need everyone up here. At the same time, I already said.
Ooh, a little bit of trouble in Team Efficiency camp. Very, very heated. Bolognese saying, where is my teammates? I'm caught out here alone, and you can see a couple of heated members there, but that's just the nature of competitive gaming, Alex.
Absolutely, and Team Efficiency, well, now they just have to keep it cool, keep it calm, try and stay in this one. They have lost one tank, being Bolognese, in that 113, but look, they've still got 6 more tanks up on the field. It's not over yet for them, and we could hear them kind of recouping, regenerating after that loss, and getting into a position that ensured Horsemen couldn't finish off the rest of them, so that was good. But Horsemen right now definitely in the commanding position in this one with a 3,000 hit point lead.
Huge stuff, just strange coming out of Team Efficiency. They look so on fire in these first few rounds here, so coming into this one already, like we heard, choking under the pressure maybe. They were able to recuperate themselves, but still seemed a little bit, hey, how you going? A couple of, why are you here? Why are you there? Don't need this person there. Get on there.
Yeah.
So you can see they're regrouping up along that 0 line. Maybe going for a play here, but you can see Horsemen, Sphinx and Spencer, they've already moved around. They have a very forward position.
Yeah, Sphinx and Spencer rather, not in a bad position to block this off, but I still think out of all of the maneuvers that Team Efficiency could have made, this hill push is actually probably pretty good, because they can push down there. If they push down in towards that A line, then a batch at AP, I mean, they can probably take it out without taking too much damage, I think, and then all of the other Horsemen members at the moment aren't anywhere near that 2 flag. So Team Efficiency, they should potentially be able to do this, but there we go, Skell's been spotted out, and I think the jig might be up.
They're really going to have to decide on whether they want to commit to this play, because otherwise they're just going to be stuck on this 0 line, maybe get pinched from either side. And Team Efficiency, they're running out of time, still 5.5 minutes left on the clock, but that's not a lot of time to set up and go for a hill cap here. You can see they're doubling back down, but you look at the Horsemen, they've set up quite they've dug in quite heavily throughout the map, so I don't really see a feasible way that Team Efficiency can break this setup.
Yeah, and there we can see Spencer in his batch at AP, average damage of 852. Does play the tier 8s quite often for the Horsemen. And 60% accuracy, which again isn't amazing, but
You got to do what you got to do, mate. Someone's got to play it.
yep, that's right. And we
And
go.
imagine all those big damage numbers only come from when he's playing the Artie.
Yeah, well, exactly. He's obviously pretty pro in the M40, M43. Not going to be seeing that on the Himmelsdorf anytime soon, though.
No.
And it's looking like Team Efficiency, they've abandoned their idea of the hill. Instead, they're going in directly towards the Horsemen.
Yeah, it's just going to be an absolute bloodbath right now. They're not going to get too much. JT first one to form. Moore is able to take out one of the AMX 50Bs, but he might be in a little bit of trouble here. Archon getting low as well, but they still have such a huge HP advantage. I don't think it's going to matter. One more shot should be able to send him sky high. Skell finishes him off in the AMX 1390. So we do have a 5v5 once again, actually, but the HP pool still heavily favoring Team Efficiency, and they did pull out a crazy win on steps, but I think this one may be done and dusted.
Yeah, look, these AMX 50Bs have just reloaded. Team Efficiency not in bad positions, but really the only chance to win this one again is having Moore do some crazy one-shot, because there's just too much health on the Horseman's lineup right there. Hawks, he's using that to his advantage. He's saying, well, he doesn't care if he takes a shot or two. He's just going to take Party out instead, and that's the right move right there.
It looks like Himmelsdorf going in favor of Horsemen. We needed them to show up in this map and regain some control on this series. More 16 seconds off the reload, not going to have a chance to go for the one shot before this game ends. Granovsky will be the last player left alive for Efficiency. Great stuff out of Horsemen, punishing indecision out of Team Efficiency, and frankly, bad teamwork and bad communication.
Yeah, look, Team Efficiency, they did get caught out there on the banana line push, and I mean, they couldn't really have scouted out those two AMX 50Bs that came in and just decimated Bolognese, because like they were on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
So that was a big issue for them. Bolognese being there without any other help. I'm not sure whether that was a rehearsed strategy there by Team Efficiency or whether he just decided to go in like that, decided he'd try his luck down that banana line. Obviously, the bat chat that was there, I forget who it was for Team Efficiency, but he managed to get away because he's a bat chat, but a 113, not quite the same deal.
Well, you're right. You could hear in the communications, he's calling for help. He's saying, where is my team? Where's my backup? I need more than just a bat chat that's going to turn tail at the start of a fight. And it was just unfortunate stuff coming out of Team Efficiency here, but great capitalization on singling out a member by Horsemen. You've got to pay them praise for that one.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the Horsemen here, well, they're going to be pretty happy with that little win. Getting another point on the board here on Himmelsdorf. And I wasn't expecting Team Efficiency to kind of turn out like that on Himmelsdorf.
No,
I thought they'd be a lot stronger. Especially
their defense side as well. They practiced that quite heavily. They got a few chances at it against EL Gaming, winning one of each side. So coming in, dropping both to Horsemen. I don't know. It's looking a bit shaky, but Horsemen, you really got to give them credit. They're playing very, very well on Himmels. They are hopefully shaking off the bad juju, coming out of steps, making sure that's in the past now. You can forget about it. No worries about how that went down. Just looking forward, keeping your eye on the prize.
Yes, that's right. So let's take a look at some of the replays from that one so we can see how Team Efficiency ended up falling down. This was the key kill for...
He's completely alone. Safi's just left him. Spencer's making sure that no one else is coming in that fight. Easy cleanup for Sphinx and Hawks.
Yeah, honestly, Safi actually just completely bailed on Bowl there. Like, as soon as Safi saw those AMX 50Bs, he didn't even stay to try and help him out, to try and get a few shots across. No. He's like, I'm out of here. Peace. Yeah, but Safi at the end of the day did end up with 1,500 damage dealt. Granovsky actually the top damage dealer there for Team Efficiency, but Sphinx and Hawks, real kind of damage dealers for the Horsemen.
Yeah, just solid threats right now. Sphinx and Hawks just doing work for the side of Horsemen, and that's what they needed to do. We said Sphinx, he's got to step up his game. He's playing immaculately tonight. He's been
he's doing well tonight.
Yeah, he's been in that top chart all 4 games, and there's definitely no surprise because we hold Sphinx to such a high regard here. Gorilla OV, and Spencer doing work for their team as well. Just being the threats they needed. JT taken down without getting a single point of damage.
Yeah,
Bolognese, low. You can't have those 113s just choking like that.
Yeah, JT dealing 0. I'm not too sure how that happened. I think maybe he was one of the first ones to push out when Team Efficiency tried their second push
must have.
out down
Yeah,
there
he
town.
was. He went head first into 2 AMX 50Bs. And that's not the...
not going to work.
No, that's not the side of the fight that you want to be on. But the score is all tied up 2-2 right now. And I think we got Ghost Town as our next upcoming map. Something that has been looking very shaky for the Horsemen. This could be another momentum swing going in favor of Team Efficiency if they can capitalize on this very shaky Horseman ghost town?
Potentially, yeah. I think the Horseman goes down here. They have struggled with it in the past. I honestly feel as though it's somewhat been more to do with the tank picks that they've actually had coming in towards this. The T57s that haven't worked. I think they also did, what was it? The Oods, which is still kind of half-half on Ghost Town at the moment.
It works if you can set up for it correctly and kind of corral your opponents into its firing line. When teams go for that one cap, then yeah, the Oods works perfectly. But if they're going to play that cityscape scrap fight, we see the Oods just sitting there on the top of the hill, having some tea and biscuits, right?
Exactly. Having some tea and biscuits, or what's the Swedish crew perk? Like chocolate. Anyways, I forgot. But not croissant. Anyways, moving on. We are going to be heading on to Ghost Town. It is a very unique map in that it's designed for esports competitive play and very similar on both of the two sides.
Yeah.
Both fairly symmetrical map as well. So that means what we see on one side could potentially see on the other side. Going to be expecting lots of bat chats. Team Efficiency like to throw a few in there. They've got one in there. They've got one Udes on the defense as well. Very heavy lineup for Team Efficiency aside from that. E100, 2 AMX50Bs and IS4. Horsemen though, look, that's a pretty solid lineup. I've just got AMX50Bs, T10, and 2 bat chats. Like that's just damage.
That's the bread and butter of Ghost Town normally. A lot of AMX50Bs just brawling in the streets. So we'll have to see what avenue of approach Horsemen take. Once they know that the Oods is up on the hill, it would be a little bit risky if they decide to go for that 1 flag. More than likely going for that 2 flag brawl. Try to take the 6v7 advantage that they have if they can stay out of the Oods firing line.
Yeah. Okay. Horsemen here do like their setup. They just have to be careful that they are not ending up in a bad position after all of their AMX50Bs and bat chats are on the reload. It's just one little minor thing they have to look out for.
You can see Horsemen kind of stalling out their plan. They don't want to do anything too aggressive just yet. They want to make sure they can get the information first. And now putting 1 tank on the 2 cap is going to force at least some response out of Efficiency. See, it is going to be Spencer sitting in the Batchat AP. So, where does Team Efficiency want to attack from?
Where do they want to attack from? I think Team Efficiency here could potentially just take out these 2 first.
Oh, a little bit of a cheeky shot.
Yeah. They're actually kind of caught out a little bit here.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
This has gone from bad to worse, but they're really trying to just give it to JT before they go down. So much damage coming through. Can they finish him off? Archon is very, very low. One more attack should do it. JT first tank to 4, but that's gotten both of the AMX50Bs down. A 2-for-1 trade favoring Efficiency. Now Horsemen, they're forced to play the aggressive Sappy. Big shot Sphinx. He's getting very, very low. Hawks forced to body block for him. Party just around the corner in the E100 as well.
Yeah, there we go. Great little start there from Team Efficiency, catching those 2 AMX50Bs off guard. And
Skell's going to have the time of his life.
Yeah, there we go. Skell in a great position in the Oods to get some shots happening. That tier 8 Swedish tank destroyer can really do some work when it has that clear firing line. But right now, 15 seconds left. Oh, Team Efficiency did get the cap reset. That's pretty important for them. And I think now it's just a matter of them making sure that they can clean up. Horsemen.
Huge play out of Efficiency. Catching both those AMX50s off guard was just on point. And they lose JT because of it, but he stalls up the AMX50Bs long enough to punish both of them on the side of Horsemen here. Now Horsemen only 3 tanks left on the field versus 6. Team Efficiency, very strong round coming out of Ghost Town. This is where I mentioned this is the momentum swing. This is going to go back into Team Efficiency's favor. A lot of these teams, they're struggling on Ghost Town, and when you're struggling on Ghost Town, it's apparent. It really is.
Oh yeah, and
can't mask it on a map like this. Not one that's been designed from the bottom up for competitive.
That's right, and Horsemen there. I'm still not a fan ever of the 2 flag push in Ghost Town. I think we've seen it work once the entirety of this season. Horsemen have just gone with it, and they've shown another one of its weaknesses to cover off all sides of that 2 flag.
Yeah.
From you know, any position that they can. They needed to put those two AMX 50Bs in a position which left them vulnerable, and Team Efficiency just came behind them. They came in front of those AMX 50Bs and just got 2 free kills essentially, or 2 semi-free kills apart from an IS-4 dying.
Yeah, well that's just the control that the Oods allows you to bring, because you can't go for that one flag anymore, because he's just going to be taking pop shots all day until he finally hits one. You're out in the open, you're vulnerable, you're forced to go for that 2 flag. It just funnels you into the cityscape, and if like Team Efficiency do have a better grasp on how to do that cityscape fighting with the AMX 50Bs, then they're just going to get completely outclassed.
Yeah, look, Team Efficiency there, great little play, great little brawl in the streets. We did see a few ricochets off, I think that was JT,
yep.
Exactly, in the IS. So, you know, shout out to JT for that one. It's really good damage coming out of the rest of Team Efficiency. The E100 of Team Efficiency hit its shots as well, which, you know, sometimes we see E100s picked here on Ghost Town, they don't do too much. But that was played well, and I'm sure we'll see that in some of these clips here from Team Efficiency. Yeah, Party in that E100, just, you know, getting some massive shots on towards those AMX 50Bs as they crossed that little area there, and, you know, they had to take out JT there in the IS-4, but really not the best target to have taken out, because
perfectly executed push by Efficiency. They understood once they saw those 2 AMX 50Bs, it was go time. It was catch these 2 tanks out, and then the rest should be gravy.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Skell was up here in the Oods, just getting snipe after snipe off. Moore did end up getting that reset. The reset came close, about 15 seconds or so. Maybe if the Horsemen had pushed in a little bit earlier and actually tried to force the cap, they might have potentially got it, but at the end of the day, that scoreboard tells a good tale of the battle. Only one member of the Horsemen up the top 7.
Yep, Nundasu, he tried his best in the AMX 50 to get a trade before he went down. Got some good damage off in regards to that. Bolognese and Moore being the 2 huge players for Efficiency this time around. And Bolognese, he's just come back with a vengeance, just running amok, as it would seem, through the competitive scene after his brief hiatus.
Yeah, well, exactly. And honestly, if you're Team Efficiency, you got to be thinking about trying to keep him on as core. I'm not too sure if Bol wants to, but he definitely should, I reckon. But Skell there in the Oods, 2.3k damage as well. Very, very nice for a tier 8 tank destroyer. And that's one of those situations where picking that Oods just works out perfectly. So, OBOV, AMX 50B, Gorilla, and the T10. Yeah, about 1500, 13 damage each. JT in the IS-4. Look, he got one shot off.
Did his job.
Yeah.
He soaked 2 clips from the AMX 50Bs before he went down.
Yeah, and
what more can you ask?
Just a little bit confusing that the Horsemen did use that Bad Chat AP effectively for a flag cap tank. That's in that scenario, because it's like, why not just use an AMX 1390 and take another tier 10 Bat Chat? In that scenario is what I think, but
who knows?
Who knows?
Unfortunate stuff coming out of Horsemen just as they were regaining some of their lost momentum here. They flounder a little bit under the pressure, but it was all thanks to the clear, decisive play from Team Efficiency, something that was lacking for them on Himmelsdorf.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the tanks for our next half here on Ghost Town to see what both teams will be bringing. Horsemen actually going to be going with the Artie again on the defensive side here, which didn't work out too well for him. No Oods. And yeah, Team Efficiency going to be going with the Kranwagen and the WZ111. So this to me is just screaming Team Efficiency to go for a 1 flag push.
Yeah, it really is. And it's going to be difficult for Horsemen if the Artie can't do the work. If Spencer's accuracy is not on point right now, then Team Efficiency going to have a very easy time getting in uncontested with no Oods to lock down the landscape on the outside. We'll see how Horsemen set up their defensive line, though.
Yeah, let's find out. So, Horsemen heading up towards a 2 flag mainly so far. Skell actually the only one heading towards a 1 flag, so this might not be an early 1 flag push from the looks of things. Team Efficiency and Horsemen meeting in the town as Skell just putting himself cheekily behind the house. And I actually like that, because it forces Gorilla to come in nice and close to try and get the reset on him. In the meantime, we are seeing a bit of a fight brewing in the middle of the town here, Max.
Yeah, great stuff, Horsemen. They might have... Oh, no, they caught out Sphinx. One more shot from the Kranwagen does it. Party picks him up. Horsemen on the back foot here, copping a barrage of damage right now. They're really under the pump, and I want to hear in this time of duress a quick listen in with Horsemen to see how they recuperate after taking so heavy casualties.
行，2分钟。能收谁就收谁，先收谁，先收人。
我还15秒。
I think the silence tells the tale of the mood of the Horseman camp right now. They understood that this game was over from the minute go. Oh, a very abysmal Ghost Town. So far, we've seen 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 in terms of round counts per map. And Spencer, last player left alive in his M4043. No hope for coming up clutch. The Arties, it's strong, but it's not that strong, Alex.
No, probably can't take out five tanks, unfortunately, against one artillery piece. But yeah, look, Horsemen, they didn't sound too happy at the end.
They didn't sound anything, Alex.
Yeah.
They didn't sound like anything, mate.
So that was not ideal for them. But team efficiency, great little push there. I was expecting them to go for that 1 flag, but switching it up a little bit, going for the 2 flag might have been the right move because Horsemen were kind of geared up to take control of the city. Team efficiency denied that. They got that very early kill on towards Sphinx in the 215B.
Sure.
Because of that, some of the Horsemen tanks pushed out to try and help out Sphinx, put themselves in danger. I think the AMX-50B was the next target for the team efficiency guys, and it just started cascading after that. Really just a very solid brawl in the city. Team efficiency, they had, I think, slightly better tanks to do it. Always helps when you can take out one at the start, though.
They really were under the pump from the start of that game. A great, kind of reminiscent of how team efficiency lost Himmelsdorf. 1 tank out in the open, calls for backup. No one's there to help him. The rest of Horsemen just kind of left out to dry after losing one of their tanks off the initial. Great aggression out of efficiency, great concise plays, making sure that everyone is doing their job correctly, making sure the line of sights are clear. And Horsemen, like I said, that silence, it was deafening. It really was, Alex.
It was, absolutely. So the Horsemen here, look, I really think that I don't know, they need some work on Ghost Town. I mean, the artillery piece on the defense, I'm actually not a big fan of because it doesn't do that much. If you want a tank to reset the 1 cap, you use the UDES. You know, if you want a tank to deal damage in the city, you use the UDES over the Arty because the Arty can't do anything in the city, you know. It can't... It's an artillery piece. It can't shoot through the buildings. So really strange why they actually picked that on the defensive side there on Ghost Town, and hopefully they don't pick it in the future.
Yeah, well, questionable stuff coming out of Horsemen. Of course, we have the replays where you're not going to see the Arty do too much for the Horsemen here. You can see it's going to be Sphinx getting caught out immediately, and there's Hawks trying to be his backup. He goes down as well, and it was pretty much done and dusted. I remember this part of the game, it was mum's the word for Horsemen.
Yeah, and kind of wrong target prioritization there from the Horsemen as well, because we saw the Kranwagen was taken down. I think it was one of the other heavy tanks, maybe even the WZ from Team Efficiency was like almost taken down, but not actually, you know, they couldn't actually finish him off. You know, they weren't taking down the AMX-50Bs, etc., or the Batchats, the Batchat APs that ended up here on the top of the scoreboard, or near the top of the scoreboard, because Archon was actually on top.
Got a few good shells off with the AMX-50B before finally getting taken down here, and there's a reason that he's quite high up on the total damage dealt chart that we have made up for ourselves here, and it's because he's able to put up the damage even when he's playing from behind. But look at that, the rest of Team Efficiency just put on a clinic. The WZ-111, huge numbers as well. JT kind of just being the shell sponge tonight.
Yeah, well, JT, he's definitely not going to be on the top of
Filling in Bohan's role.
Absolutely, the average damage stats after that one. Spencer there with his M40 actually ended up dealing 1,500 damage, which I didn't think he even dealt that much. But look at that, 4 tier 10 tanks on the bottom of the scoreboard. Dealing,
Breaks your heart to see.
yeah, 1,200, 800, 700, and 600. Not ideal for the Horsemen at all.
Coming into the next map, they really need to pick up their game, and it's just been momentum swing after momentum swing. If they get all the way to the tiebreaker, it's going to be a ghost town again. So realistically, I don't see a way that Horsemen can take this series out.
After that performance on ghost town, no. And look, they need to win every match now. Otherwise, they're out. They lose the series. It is 4-2 at the moment, of course. You know, if here on Ruinberg, we do see Team Efficiency pick up one more win, then that is it. He will take the series. And we all predicted 5-3, 5-3, and he predicted 5-4.
I had faith in the Horsemen, but
not looking like it.
I gotta respect the current trends, and that trend is Horsemen. If you got stock in Horsemen, you sell, because right now they're not looking good. They're not looking good. Let's be honest.
Yeah, the tank economy right now is definitely not favouring the Horsemen. Let's find out though what they're going to be bringing in here to the defensive side of Ruinberg. Going to be packing a couple of FV215Bs actually. I like that. Going with the WZ132, the nice nippy light Chinese tier 8 light tank. I like that as well.
Nice and nippy.
Very, very nippy and just a little bit lower profile than the RU251. They've got
Efficiency got one too.
Yep. Seems like the WZ132 is becoming the tank of choice almost on Ruinberg here.
It's interesting to see when we see trends start to develop, especially region-specific ones at that.
Yeah.
Jumping into potentially our last game of the series here. Team Efficiency crushing Horsemen right now, but the current trends hold true, and this is a 2-0 for Horsemen, but Team Efficiency, they look to be back on form after that ghost town, so the odds are not in Horsemen's favour.
Yeah, no, that's right, and you want to know what Horsemen's win rate on the Muravanka defence is?
You mean Ruinberg defence?
Sorry, Ruinberg defence.
Lay it on me, Alex. Tell us their Muravanka one as well.
Well, I was actually looking at the wrong call. I was looking at Muravanka. I was like, wait a minute. And that was 0. So it was going to be a really profound statement. Like it's 0%. But it's actually 50% on Ruinberg. They just don't play
much less exciting, Alex.
Yeah, much less exciting. A little bit unfortunate there. But at the end of the day, not impressive. No matter what way you look at it.
Moore's already copped a few shells to the back here. He's going to have to back off and rethink his position. You can see that. You can see basically all of Team Efficiency recalling out of the firing line here. Horsemen mounting a strong defense quite early on. Yeah,
that's really not ideal from Team Efficiency just to give that many shells away. Safi there dropped to 1546 HP, which is far from ideal. More there, 764 as well. So Team Efficiency have just made it a little extra bit harder for themselves. I like JT's positioning here in the IS-7. He does normally do quite a bit of work on the IS-7 on Ruinberg, getting into those nice hold down positions like this to get the shots off, but it's looking like Team Efficiency positioning for a 1 flag attack right now. We've got Archon and Nundesu defending that one up, so the Horsemen, they do have enough members to hold it out at the moment, but there's Mr. Gorilla in the 113.
Gorilla, he had a rough series yesterday. He's been playing reasonable today, but he needs to start picking up his game if he wants to take out Team Efficiency this time around. Team Efficiency looking so damn strong, up 4-2 the Horsemen. They had such an impressive start to Season 2. Now it's all falling apart at the seams, it seems. I don't know.
I know either, Max, but I think Team Efficiency know that they want to go in pretty soon. And that is going to be Bolognese leading the charge. He seems to be pretty good at that. Actually, in the 113, takes a quick little look back to make sure his team is actually behind him that time. I love that. But now it's going to be up to the Horsemen to rotate quickly. Oh, and Skell actually taking the first few shots. That's not too bad.
Oh, this is always...
Oh, he's just ricocheted one as well in the WZ132. Oh, he's ricocheted another in the WZ132. That's why we see this tank picked here. Troll ricochets from the tier 8.
Not going to see it a third time around now. Safi in the firing line. More the first 1 to 4. Horsemen, a very strong defense. They have a huge HP pool lead. 6,000 at the moment. Great stuff. This is looking very bad for Team Efficiency, but they have 3 tanks on the cap with only 15 seconds left. This is going to force Horsemen to just kind of throw caution to the wind and go in. Great reset coming out of Archon, but that's still 20 seconds left. Ricochet's one. Going to make sure he can keep in a very good position here. 30 seconds left. The resets are coming through well and true, but Horsemen, they're going to have to do something a little bit more. They need to start getting these tanks off the map. Spencer, he's on the flank here. Great line of fire. He's going to get resets on tap right now. Yeah, there we go. This is not looking good for Team Efficiency at all. They need to take some guns off the field for the Horsemen. They're spreading their damage a little bit at the moment. This FE215B needs to go down. Oh, Bolognese finds it in the end, but Gorilla in a very favorable position right now. He's going to be able to just swing around the corner in the 113 with a loaded shell. Choose who he wants to take down. A big hit on to JT. He falls to Sphinx. That's 2 members left on the hill. 20 seconds left. The reset's just coming in well and true. Accuracy on point as Gorilla takes out Safi, and Efficiency. We've seen that push happen time and time again, and we've seen it fail time and time again. And today holds true for that one, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to be seeing the end of Horsemen just yet. They still have some gas in the chamber. They still have a little bit of oomph in their step, and they're not going down without a fight, Alex. Yeah, great little bit of play there from the Horsemen on Ruinberg. I think that early catch out of Moore helped them out quite a bit, dropping him down to 700 HP or so. That's super crucial in a bat chat. Whenever the bat chat goes into a fight with 700 HP, it's just instant target, instant dead. So taking one tank almost out so early on, and then I didn't really like Team Efficiency's sort of move that they made on towards that one flag where they tried to actually get the cap victory there. I much prefer it when these teams push past the one flag and just try and eliminate tanks and go for a elimination victory. Yeah, it was rough. It was really rough. And trying to rush up that little town, it's always really tough to get it just right, because if you take too much damage and then you're getting shot from all angles, you're really feeling the pressure. And Efficiency, they tried something different at the start, didn't work out for them. They had to kind of recuperate their tanks. They weren't even down that much HP, so the push quite brazen from them. Props to Horsemen for being able to recognize which side of the map that Efficiency were going to come from and utilizing their defensive setup well. Yes, absolutely. So, Horsemen looking strangely strong on the Ruinberg defense here. I think the attack is going to be another side, of course. Some teams, sometimes really do like the Ruinberg attack. We can have a look at Team Efficiency. They actually have a 50% win rate on the Ruinberg attack, but a 100% win rate on the Ruinberg defense. So, statistically speaking, and going off our predictions, going off Jordan and I's predictions here, now that it's 3-4, we would expect Team Efficiency to take this next one and making it a 5-3 victory for them. But it's not going to be super easy for them. They're good on the defense here on Ruinberg, but Horsemen, they're playing pretty well tonight. They're not playing badly. They're hitting their shots. They're only playing badly in their losses. Their victories are clean. Their victories are strong. It's always when their losses are abysmal, though. They just get wiped off the field. And we're going to see Efficiency this time around getting wiped off the field. If the rest of the tankers had the same luck as Skell, then we could be singing a different song here, Alex. Yeah, that is honestly crazy for Mr. Skell there to have ricocheted 2 shots with that WZ-132. Let's take a look at the damage stats after that one, and we can the only time that JT does well, it doesn't matter, because the rest of his tank is falling short this time around. Great stuff from Horsemen, Nandasu and Archon putting up the big numbers. Gorilla Sphinx as well. Great to see Gorilla back in the swing of things. We mentioned when his little play bug came up that it was on him to be one of the players to help lead his team to victory, and he's doing just that. So happy to see him back in the proverbial swing. Yes. Gorillas don't swing, though. It's more of a chimpanzee thing. Really? Is that right? I didn't know that. I don't know. Maybe gorillas swing. I don't know. I've only seen them at the zoo, never in the wild. Right. Well, I don't think I've... Actually, no, maybe I've seen them in the zoo. Anyways. Skill there in the WZ-132 near the bottom on 228, but he got some sick ricochets. More in the bat chat, 0 damage, unfortunately. And that's what happens when you get, spotted out early on, a few shots popped into you. It just became a non-factor. Rough. Horsemen, they're not out of the woods yet. They still have 2 more rounds to win if they want to take this series away, where Efficiency, they're not used to being up this much. Last time it was them in the exact same position against EL Gaming, down 4-2, and they made the dream run happen. It would be heartbreaking for them to have that spat right back in their face from the Horsemen here. So they've got to make sure to close out the series nice and quick here, but nothing too over the top. Mention they do have that 100% win rate on the Ruinberg defense, so the odds are in their favor this time around to mount a strong and reasonable defense here. Coming into it though, Horsemen, they're looking good.
Looking good.
That was a good win. That was a good win here, and we're jumping into the tank select. We'll see what they're going to be rolling out with.
Okay, let's find out. So team efficiency here. Pretty stock standard solid lineup on the defensive side. They've got a WZ132 again, the FV215B for a bit of consistent damage as well as that 113. Now going to be going with the TVP, which sometimes we see works, sometimes it doesn't. Has to be driven by the right pilot, right driver even. Horsemen though, they're just going with another Horseman sort of fully auto-load lineup.
This just seems to be the new strategies from the Horsemen. Just chuck 7 auto-loaders on the field and the rest makes itself up. Burst, 2 tanks down. Reload, repeat.
I don't know if I'm a massive fan of
Neither am I, Alex, if we're being perfectly honest here. But if it works for them, it works. And they're going to be trying that because they need a miracle right now. Efficiency, 1 round away from taking this series away, making yourself and Jordan's predictions correct here. But Horsemen on the attack with 7 auto-loaders. They want to make this aggressive play because he's Spencer and Gorilla running straight up the middle in those Batchat APs. They want to try and catch out one of these AMX 50Ps going for the rotate. Spencer, he's managed to make his way in undetected right now. Gorilla as well. Party gonna have to back off.
Yeah, Party there in that AMX 50B. 3 shots left. Didn't manage to connect with that first one, but oh no, Mr. Skill!
Oh, just wiped off the face of the earth. He goes down. This is what the Horsemen needed, an early pick to take this series out.
Yeah, it's a good early pick, but again, only on that tier 8 light tank. We wouldn't have expected the WZ132 to have done too much anyway. And oh no, Safi's been spotted out there as well. That wasn't worth either. Safi was not worth. So team efficiency just sacrificing a little bit too many shots, a little bit too much damage on towards their tanks this early on. And now Horsemen are pushing right up into their face. They're in the town right now. They've got 2 tanks on the cap. That's 37 seconds left, so that's another avenue of pressure for the Horsemen to put onto team efficiency. Oh, they're reacting though.
BOV's taking a few shots to the side here. They can't find anywhere to get the damage back onto. Now Sphinx in the firing line. Nandesu gets one onto Party. It's not going to be enough damage though. Gorilla takes a shot here. Sphinx, he's down to 151 HP. Spencer under the pressure as well. Horsemen throwing a massive HP pool lead out the window here. They still have the 7 cannons left on the field. So if it comes to an all-out brawl, they could still focus fire. The correct efficiency members down. But efficiency, 2,000 HP pool advantage at the moment.
Yes, there we go. So team efficiency looking pretty strong so far. They need to maintain this lead though and actually take these guns off the field. It's all well and good, you know, getting all of those AMX 50Bs down low, but they do need to get these kills and get those massive auto-loaders down because, well, it's still a lot of damage on the Horseman's lineup, no matter how much HP it has.
The first tank to fall. Bolognese gets that one onto OBOV. Spencer down to 86 health. Can they pick him off? One more shot could do it from anyone. Safi may be able to get the kill onto Gorilla. He's so low. Look at the HP pulls on the side of the Horseman. Gorilla falls down, and it looked great for the Horseman. They had a beautiful forward position, but they allowed Team Efficiency to get behind them. They allowed Team Efficiency to get the crossfire. Now, Nandesu is going to be left out to dry by the rest of the Horsemen. He is able to get a return kill onto Bolognese, so it's not over yet. Horsemen, they still have a few tanks on the field to answer, but the HP pool with 5 tanks below 1,000, you've got to be bleeding right now. 4 tanks remain for the Horsemen.
I think the TVP here of, more just
I think we're done, Alex.
Take out Nandesu, and I think that should be it. Only 3 tanks left. Look, Horsemen, yeah, they shouldn't be able to take out 5 tanks from team efficiency. So it should be a pretty clean win from team efficiency here on Ruinberg. Well fought by the Horsemen. You've got to give them credit for it. They got that nice early pick, got some nice early damage on towards the team efficiency members that were poking, but end of the day, I think team efficiency, worked really well in the town. Some of those auto loaders, they do struggle at having these little poke wars. Obviously, when you're in an auto loader, you want to be going for those high accuracy shots, and team efficiency, I think they forced them into a bit more of an extended trade, so they won it out.
Yeah, they got that 100% defense ratio on Ruinberg for a reason here on the side of efficiency. Great stuff. And look, they're on the defense. They have no reason to hunt down the remaining members of Horsemen. All they have to do is sit and wait for the Horsemen to come to them, and no reason to do anything else. So, smart play.
We can see JT there just firing to get some eyes on where Horsemen may potentially be. Oh,
Close.
bit of blind firing action happening. Obviously, if any of the Horsemen shoot JT, then they will probably be lit up in those bat chats. So, but I think if JT pokes all the way out, then they've got to shoot him. They've got to try and go for the kill.
Right here, there's no other way of getting themselves back in this than making a pick with the bat shots. But Sphinx,
there we go.
He goes down. Granoski finishes him off. So only 2 tanks left on the field for Horsemen. It's only a matter of time now before Team Efficiency tighten the noose here, and Horsemen unfortunately fall in this series and continue their downward spiral to the bottom half of the leaderboard.
Yeah, there we go. Well,
Third loss in a row here, Alex.
Not great for the Horsemen. Third loss in a row. You're right. They lost to Karen
Fourth
Tiger.
loss, sorry.
Yeah, lost to Karen Tiger 1-5.
Lost to Meltdown. Now they're losing here to Efficiency. That EL blow, it was tough. It really is. This team was looking like the second best team in our league here, and now they're struggling to keep their head above water.
Yeah, but look at this. Hawks with the troll shots on towards JT. So they do manage to take JT out. Maybe if they're lucky, they'll get Party, but probably should be it. Oh, and Moore's actually been spotted out, but Hawks is on the reload. So, yep, Moore's able to take out one. One more shot should be enough.
Yep, Hawks last player left alive. You can see Safi, he's just going to go hunting right now. 12 seconds left on the reload for Hawks, and that's all she wrote for the Horsemen.
Oh, Ricochet. Of course, Hawks get it.
I thought I was going to time that well, but he gets the Ricochet.
Another track shot that doesn't do damage, but there you go.
Oh, well.
Okay. Well, predictions right. Jordan and I are going to be pretty happy with that. Perfect.
Congratulations, friends. I had more faith in the Horsemen, but you can expect my future predictions for them to shave off a few rounds.
There you go. Well, guess so. So the Horsemen there, well, they're not going to be too happy at all with that loss. But Team Efficiency, look, they played well. And again, they've shown that it doesn't really matter who their lineup is. They have played with a different lineup, even in this series with the sub-in of Party for Bohan, and that's worked out well again. So exactly, it doesn't matter for Team Efficiency. They're still a very strong lineup all around, a very cohesive team, even when playing with their subs, and that's great to see.
Look, my perception of Team Efficiency is just it's grown in the last few days here. This team now is the team to beat. EL Gaming have been dethroned up on the top. Everyone looking up to the Red Panda. It's Team Efficiency. They've taken out EL. They've taken out Horsemen. Who else can stop this roster if they continue this momentum?
Yeah, it's hard to say, but Team Efficiency are undefeated so far in WGL APAC. The only team, not EL Gaming, Team Efficiency, the only team that are undefeated, which is a little bit crazy to say, but it is the truth,
Season 2,
guys.
baby.
So, Season 2, exactly. And I'll be interested to see how they settle in next week. I think next week, Party might be coming back full-time onto the roster. Maybe instead of Bolognese, I've heard, but
after his performance this weekend, you'd be hard-pressed to find a reason not to keep Bolognese in the roster. But let's have a look at the post-game statistics for that one. JT, Party, and more the heavy hitters on the side of Team Efficiency. Hawks, Archon, and Nunda Su will be the 3 top members for the Horsemen here. But JT performing when we needed him to. Had a rocky start to this series.
Yeah, he did a little bit.
Back on top.
Made his way back, exactly. And more there in the TVP, did pretty well, 2.3 thousand damage. Party with the Amex 50B, 2.5 thousand. Not bad either. Overall, some pretty solid damage numbers across the board. And I just don't think Horsemen's lineup there worked too well. The full auto loaders, I mean, unless you're literally just going to YOLO all your entire team into the town.
Yeah, I know. They tried on Steps, it's not working. They're trying it on Ghost Town, it's not working. They're trying it on Ruinberg, and surprise, surprise, it's not working. I think it's time to retire this strategy. Scrunch it up, throw it in the trash. It's one and done. It's not going to It's not going to pay any dividends anymore, Horsemen. You heard it here first. Abandon it. Go back to what make Horsemen great again, Alex.
Yes, there you go. So I think the Horsemen, well, after this one, they cannot be feeling too strong at all. But team efficiency, I mean,
top of the world right now.
Absolutely top of the world. They've had such a fantastic week so far, beating EL Gaming, beating Horsemen, who honestly look like one of the only potential challenges for team efficiency, aside from maybe Karen Tiger, I guess. Although, of course, team efficiency, their last match against Karen Tiger, 5-4, they won in a tiebreaker. So they can beat Karen Tiger, they can beat EL Gaming, they can beat team Horsemen. It's going to be hard to beat them this season.
Yeah, efficiency, once again, looking on top. And I want to have a look at the post-match statistics to see if Bolognese was up there. Not this time around. It was Granovsky and Hawk being the big damage dealers for team efficiency. But Nandasu and Archon once again.
Yeah, actually trying to carry.
They're trying their darndest. Sphinx as well, playing good tonight. Just not well enough. I really think it did come down to those few rounds that they just went auto-loader galore, and it's not enough. There's a reason that teams don't do that.
Yeah, I think so. It really hasn't worked out too well for the Horsemen. And Party, 1675 damage. Good to see that he was actually able to come in even after missing the first game and deal 1675 average damage, I do believe. So, got JT Safi, more in scale down the bottom there, 1600, 1550.
OBOV dealing less than Spencer. I guess Spencer did get a few good arty shots in this series, but
that's
still...
rough. That's rough.
Still... OBOV, usually one of the heavy hitters, Gorilla as well, both having a less than desirable series tonight.
Yeah. And OBOV only firing 38 shots. And I don't think he was in any particular slow firing tanks.
No.
Because they
played autoloaders the entire series.
Exactly. The AMX 50Bs and the bat chat. So very strange to see that OBOV's only shot 38 times that battle.
And look, great stuff. Another win to add to team efficiency's belt. But next up, we have B Gaming taking on EL Gaming. It's going to be a very hard-fought battle for B Gaming to take it this one around. But we are going to go to a quick break. We'll be back in 10 minutes, so don't go anywhere.